Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today we're going to take a look at Garbage Day. This is a Mayday game. It's a small box game that takes roughly a half an hour to play. It's a 2 to 5 player game, and it's competitive, so it's basically seeing who can be in the longest. The last player to be in will be the winner. So in the game, each player is going to have a certain number of cards, and each turn they're going to try to play those cards onto the garbage can, or into their room, or into their friends' rooms, depending upon what cards they have. The object of it basically is not to get cards back. So as you put cards in the garbage can, if they fall down or knock off other cards, then those cards will be moved to your room. And if you reach a certain point in there, then you are going to be knocked out of the game. So the last person that is still in will be the winner. So let's head to the table and I'll teach you how to play. Let's take a closer look at some of the cards that you're going to be seeing in the game. So at the top of each card is going to be a number of potential different icons, as you can see on this chart, and it will determine where that card can be played during the game. So we have in other players' rooms, onto the garbage can, or into your room. Then you're going to have the name of each card, and if it's a mischief card, it'll have Make Mischief on it, and then the name of that particular card. Mischief cards will also have effects that you can choose to play when you play them into other players' rooms. Other cards will just have the picture of the item, and then in the bottom corner will show the value of that item into the room. And then also some cards will have symbols down at the bottom, which the fly in this game is gross, and then there's also a nose, which is smell. In some of the expansions, these will come into play. For board setup, if you just have the regular game, you'll simply put the trash can in the middle of the board and turn its lid face up. Each player will get a player card. We're playing a 2-player game. And then each player will also get a clutter card that'll go into their room on their room side. Any leftover clutter cards are simply just shuffled into the deck. Each player gets dealt 2 cards. And then the rest of the cards are placed somewhere on the field for all players to reach. From here, you're ready to start the game. Mayday also sells some really nice little player mats for your playing area, and then each individual player can also have their own mat. These are optional. You do not have to buy these mats, but they just kind of add a little bit of extra flair to the game. If you really enjoy the game, I would recommend picking up the mats. They are really nice, and like I said, just they kind of add a little bit of extra to the game. The last thing we need to do before we get started is to choose the starting player. And you can do this in any fashion you choose. A lot of the times I'll grab 4 different cards out of the deck and choose one of them to be the starting player, and then each player draws one randomly, and the player that gets that card will be the starting player. For our demo, our gamer is going to be our starting player. And so during each player's turn, there are 4 steps that player will follow. Draw, play a card, check room, and overflow. And we're going to take a closer look at each one of these steps. The first step in a player's turn is to draw. If you have less than 3 cards in your hands, go ahead and draw up until you have 3 cards in your hands. And then from there, we're ready to move to play a card. So I'm going to play my cards face up so you guys can see what I have. So I have a plastic bag, I have a Make Mischief card, and a stale potato chips. So as you can see in this diagram, there are 3 different icons that you may find on your cards, and they're going to tell you where you can play your cards at. From here, go ahead and choose one of your cards and play it into that location. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one onto the garbage can. Now when placing onto the garbage can, you must follow a set of rules. Place 1 card at a time, place cards face up, use only one hand to place the card. The holes in the card must be able to see through to the bottom of the table, so you must play a card in a way that you can see both holes. So if we add a second card here, it would have to be something like that so you can see through both holes. You cannot intentionally move cards when placing a card, so you can't shift the card over to get in a better position. The card must be placed on top of other cards, so you can't try to place a card in between cards in order to put it in there. It must be placed on top of other cards, and you must wait 3 seconds before placing another card. to make sure that the card is going to stay. The third step in your turn is to check your room. And you're going to basically look into your room and see how many points you have in there. If it is 10 points or more, then you must clean your room. And when you're cleaning your room, you will take cards from your room and add them onto the garbage can one at a time. You cannot choose to clean your room. You must do it only when it's full or if a mischief card allows you to do it. The fourth step is the overflow. So while playing cards onto the trash can, if cards fall over onto the table, during the overflow step, those cards will be added to your overflow section. And then based on the number of players will be how many cards you can have in your overflow before your player busts and is out of the game. So for a 2-player game, we can have a total of 5 cards or more. If we have 5 cards or more, then our player has busted and is out. The game will end when there is 1 player left that has not busted. If there is a tie, then the tie will be determined by the number of overflow cards in each player's overflow that has not busted.